Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Thursday, March 19th. We're going to take a look at the indices like we usually do, the indicators, some key ETFs, and 5 stocks tonight: Under Armour, United Continental, Vipshop, Valero, and Baidu. Okay, we're going to start off here with the Dow Industrials. So the Dow was down 117 points today, and like I talked about on Tuesday, that we're chopping, stair-stepping higher, up, down, up, down, up, down. Pretty clear. I mean, you can just see what it's doing here. It is inching its way higher, but it's not super strong, although we finally got 2 closes above the 10. Still got the 10 below the 21, but the 21's above the 55, and that is above the 233. So let's take a look here. Now, a couple closes again, S&P 500, a little stronger scenario here. Here's the same stair-stepping type of approach, but a little stronger on the S&P 500 than on the Dow. I'm sticking with this wave count because it's the only one that kind of makes sense to me. The Nasdaq, as opposed to stair-stepping, the Nasdaq has had 4 up days in a row. So the Nasdaq is acting strong, although we still have the 10 below the 21 here. That's still a little cause for concern based on how that's acting. So I'm kind of watching that. Let's see, the next one we'll take a look at is New York Composite. And again, of course, the New York Composite, I mean, this was the biggest strong day yesterday of all the indices. And then, again, we're, this stair-stepping type of thing. Now, it doesn't have a dark bar in here, but that's because the close was higher than the open on this day, which was, what is that? It was Tuesday. And let's see, I'll come back, I'll take a look at the McClellan Oscillator, see if it's updated. Russell 2000, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is very much like the Nasdaq. 4 days in a row up, and again closing at a new all-time high on the Russell 2000. So continuing to punch out these new highs, and it's looking pretty strong right now. And let's go to the short-term trading index. We're kind of in the middle here. The 10-day moving average is right smack in the middle of the range. So no strong indication there. The VIX, on the other hand, again, another situation where, the VIX was up 0.1, 1/10 of a point on a day when the Dow was down 117 points. So just to kind of a little weird. Same thing happened back over in here, and then we get this this big blip down yesterday, which naturally occurred with the market being up so strong. And again, I remember I had talked about how, this just wasn't looking and acting real bullish to me. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just collapses. So again, I'm not seeing much of a bullish scenario here with the VIX, which reinforces the fact that the Dow is stair-stepping, or the market is stair-stepping higher and continuing to push higher. The high-low index, yesterday's move broke this downward trend line on the high-low that I had in here, because we were getting non-confirmation of the market, and then we got this collapse of the high-low. And you call it a collapse. It was not super strong. I mean, here's the neutral line, the 0 line, but yet we bounced back up, and with yesterday's move, we broke that trend line, and then we'll pull back today. But we'll watch to see, do we continue to go up and challenge the highs, or we get in sync with the market move? And that could be what's starting to go on here with the high-low. Well, so let me go back to the McClellan Oscillator, which is on the Nasdaq, and see. Let me refresh it, see if it's changed it a little bit. It hasn't. And sometimes it's still early. It's 5:40 Central Time here in the Dallas area, and I got a feeling this may not be the final numbers, but the way this is looking is up and closing back above the 0 line. And I didn't look at it yesterday. Let's see if I can get the Okay, so the 18th actually closed, which I would have expected. It closed above the zero line on the 18th, which, because of the strong move to the high side yesterday. So we, back up in positive territory up here on the McClellan Oscillator and rapidly approaching this overbought zone, but we're not there yet. At least on the preliminary data, we're not there yet. All right, let's take a look at the high yield bond fund. Hopefully I can find that fairly quickly. There it is. Okay, so again, coming on, we came, down to the trend line here, this longer term trend line. We've gone blasting off of it yesterday, and then we pull right back down. So we'll see whether we're going to get some movement and we continue to rally on the high yield, or whether it's going to continue this and collapse and lack the support. So kind of hard to tell, the way this action, based just purely on the high yield bond fund. The next one is the long-term TLT Treasury bonds, 20-year plus. And so the rally continues again. The interest rates dropped here as the bonds rallied. The interest rates dropped yesterday, basically because of all of the talk and the action by the Fed. The perception again is that, well, maybe the Fed is kind of backing off. How can they raise rates when everything is not in that great a shape? And it's almost like they kind of admitted that yesterday. And I talked about that in a post on, it was either Saturday or last Thursday, or sometime this weekend. And let's see, the dollar index. And hopefully I've got the dollar index data correct in here. I tried to update it manually to get it in. Had this big collapse, and then we get this kind of a pause day, and I think it's up in aftermarket kind of thing, but we'll see. Now everybody, immediately you get one, little pullback in here, and everybody's like, well, the dollar ended, is the end of the move on the dollar? And it's pretty hard to tell just from 1 or 2 days action. Now granted, it's gone pretty vertical, and I don't know, it's still in an uptrend, and still, even the short-term trend is still to the high side. So you gotta stay with that for the moment. Oil is the next one. United States 12-month oil, USL. Okay, so oil jumped yesterday, and then it turned around and just reversed right back on down. So the close is slightly higher than the close on Tuesday. So 22.94 or 23.18, but not that far off. Not that far off at all. And gold has bounced. And there we are with the gold shares. The big move yesterday, closing back above the 10. So now we've got 2 closes above the 10. And again, I'm cautiously watching this just because it did not take out this low here, and that I'm expecting it to. And it got very, very close, but we'll see whether or not this is going to hold and start to turn or not. But let me look at the divergence on this. Again, it's not enough in my camp, I don't think. Looks like it's trying to turn, and the way the way they got these closed, the way the indicators are looking, we might get another up move on gold tomorrow. We'll see whether that happens or whether it's sideways. All right, now I'm going to jump in and take a look at, start off here with Under Armour. Okay, so here's Under Armour, and look at this nice trend. It just keeps blasting up. I thought it might reverse. Let's take a look at something here. Let me pull this volume down. And we weren't getting divergence on the RSI. We pulled back down here to the middle, right to like 47 in the middle of here where typically you get support. And all the moving averages are aligned. This is one I definitely missed. I should have jumped in. The perfect time on this one, especially with the 10 above the 21, above the 50, all the moving averages aligned to the high side. Jumping in at the close on this day or buying it at the open the next day, and again it opened down a little bit, would have been a perfect trade to get in, and I just missed it. Either looking somewhere else or watching something else. I don't know. I think this pullback, I was in this. Oh yeah, I was in this, and I remember we got within just a few cents of hitting my target, and then it sold off and pulled back down, and I actually ended up taking a loss on this, getting stopped out on this move after getting in over here. And so, you know, here's a classic example. I was looking for it to do what it did here, over here, and it didn't do it. Stalled out when it got to the top of the Kellner channel, got these little doji bars in here, stalled out. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, is this stalling out on me? And then, you know, sure enough, it pulls right on back down. And so, you know, again, this is one where, because this was a perfect entry back in here in this sequence, I should have replayed it again right back in here. So opportunity missed. Hope one or more of you caught that. All right, the next one is United Airlines. Hope more than one or more of you. Hope a bunch of you caught it. All right, United Airlines. This one is breaking a trend line to the high side, and I think I was in Delta and got out of it. Actually, I think it's price action. I can't remember. I don't have it up on top of me, but it was pulled. We got the pullback, and I didn't like the way it was acting. But now we get this close above the trend line. This could be trying to go, but you know, given all of what oil's done, I'm really struggling with what's going on with the airlines. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, now granted, you know, the move has been occurring in oil since June, and you've had this big move here on the airlines, and I'm a little concerned that it could be stalling out. I thought we would be breaking and running, and maybe this is the start of it, but right now we've just got this one bullish day here. The next one is Vipshop Holdings, China ADR. Okay, so this is another one where I was looking at, and we were getting some negative divergence, and we had a little bit of a breakdown occurring here. I thought we were going to roll over and get some further breakdown, at least down to the 55-day moving average. That's what I was looking for, and of course it didn't happen. And I should be, in the future, I will be leaning stronger to the alignment that I'm seeing here with the moving averages like we've got. And, you know, I think that's what carried the day in here, is the fact that they were aligned to the high side. The trend continued up. Now, I am still suspicious that we could be getting the play that I was looking for, because we're getting divergence again. Okay, so this divergence occurred over a several week period. Now we're getting divergence over about a 1 week period. Now, granted, this is just, you know, we haven't gotten a second day to confirm that that's a divergent point, but there is divergence showing up on all three indicators as of right now. So I am suspicious. Let me look at the volume. Volume was pretty decent today. Jumped up 8.4 million. Yeah. I mean, this is another one it's tempting to play. There's a reversal play that I've got, a reversal setup that I've got that this could set up for. But honestly, you know, the way this is trending so nicely, and the strong move with the nice volume coming in, I'm not going to mess with it. Going to leave that little trend alone. And let's see, the next one is Valero. Valero Energy. And here's another one of where I've seen several of these, of the ones I'm watching, several of these now with this trend line, with the moving average, the 10, below the 21, and staying below, even with this little pullback move. I've seen that many times, and a lot of times this move doesn't go anywhere, and it's the perfect place to short it. But this is kind of a strong setup, so it's, you know, I'm not going to do it here on Valero, but I've seen that happen before. And you know, here's a perfect example. It's like this is the first counter trend move. Now it's not the same, not quite the same setup, because you had quite a bit of a move to the downside before you got the counter trend move. But, you know, here's a move to the downside, first counter trend move up above the 10. The 10 is still below the 21. I would not be surprised to see this do one more leg down, you know, kind of like a B, C type thing. But this one is not as attractive to bet on, but that's what I'm going to be watching for to see if it does start to pull back down. Okay, the next one is Baidu, and the last one that we're going to look at tonight is Baidu ADR. Now, Baidu's bounced pretty well with yesterday. You know, it's a pretty good two-day bounce. So it closed Tuesday at 203, and here we are at 214. So real nice bounce on this. But again, what does it look like? You know, it looks like we're chopping sideways, kind of this overlapping. Here, you know, here's a great one-day bounce, went nowhere. Here's a great three-day bounce. Actually, if you count this day, 4-day, 3 to 4 day bounce, went nowhere. Pulled right back down. So now we got a 2-day bounce, right to the 55-day moving average, which is declining. Okay, so I've still, you know, we're in this corrective action down here. We've broken this trend line here. That's fairly substantial. Let's see, how far does that trend line? Well, it comes from here. Okay, so you could say it is from early to mid 2013. So pretty decent trend that was broken in this action in January, February. And so right now I'm actually looking for more to the downside. We'll see if we get it or whether this morphs into something else, which it could. Now the other thing I'm watching for is that this trend line is containing this corrective action. Okay, and you could even create a parallel line to that and put it down here, and you can see how, yeah, we got a little bit of a swing to the down, you know, kind of an extreme here, but for the most part this is trending down within this channel. Okay, and we'll see whether it contains and stays within this corrective channel or whether something else happens or it starts to break out. But right now I've got to assume that, you know, the trend is still in place and still to the downside. So that's what I'm watching for. That's what I think is going on with Baidu, and that is it for tonight. We will be back on Saturday with the weekend update. All right, everyone, have a great Friday. Thanks for stopping by. This has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. We'll talk to you this weekend.